Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How's things?
Busy. Back at it.
Yeah, I bet.
So I
School,
could I can rock for like a half hour with you, and then I gotta do the dad deeds.
same. I got mom duty, so I
Gotcha.
completely understand. I appreciate you
Of
taking
course.
this time to chill for a minute. You guys start school yet?
Homeschooling here. I've turned our back playroom into like a basically a Montessori school.
Nice.
But I've got my daughter who's 7, a friend of ours, 6 or 7 year old, and then our 2 year old Mickey. So Mickey's kind of in the Mickey see, Mickey do. So she's learning, but it's nice. They're getting a lot of one-on-one action and care. They go to the beach, they go to parks, and then when Mickey's napping, they do a lot of their daily work, you know, math, reading, and so on. But what's great is we don't have a backup plan, and I don't think Amelia even was allowed to go to school. So just skipping a bunch of the bullshit like drop-offs and pickups, and then Mary Welch is so busy, and if I do get gigs and have to leave, we didn't have anybody in place. So we were fortunate enough to have a homeschool. Our nanny, and it's kind of our nanny. She came to like Dominican, watches the kids with us. She was a Montessori teacher for Punky when she was a kid. We signed her up because she was going to go to Australia, but obviously she can't travel. So we're going to try it out for a semester. So my house is totally homeschool from 8 to 3. And they're not on
Nice.
computers all day, which was the big, the one thing I didn't think I would be able to manage, especially with a 2 year old. But just to have Punky on it the whole day, I just kind of liked being outside and just learning more one-on-one. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah, that's why we chose to do homeschool instead of doing the e-learning. I didn't want my 9-year-old on a screen all day.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to be plugged in like that. So we're going to do a couple technology things, but
Yeah.
we're going to focus on other things and real world things too. We're going to
Totally.
do cooking and sewing and learning
Dude,
how to do a checkbook.
you know that's it. My kids are 6 and 7 and 2, but that's the morning routine. So I wake up at 7, get them up and get them ready with my wife, and then she's out the door pretty early, and then they cook and they clean everything. They make their own little waffles and blueberries, and they're learning how to use the dishwasher, how to use the sink, the disposal. We just had a close call with that. I had to teach them that will mangle their hands if they stick it down in there. But they stuck the sink part all the way into the disposal and it ripped it in
Oh
chunks. I'm like, this
no.
could have happened to you. So we're
Yeah.
learning about everyday thing around the house, and they keep it real clean, which is cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Important skills to learn,
yeah,
life
for sure,
skills for
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's how.
unfortunately, not everybody can do that right now. It's pretty insane. I mean, even here in Charleston, they're trying to pass a law that if you're trying to look after your kids' education and be safe about COVID-19, they now want every caregiver to have a license. You got to pay to have a license just to be able to homeschool or be a guardian or watch your kid, which is, I think, pretty ridiculous. Kind of chasing for more money when people are
Yeah.
just trying. People are, it's different and hard for everybody. Some people don't have options.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was my fear here in New York State. That's why I made sure I got my paperwork in, like when they still couldn't decide what they were going to do with schools. And I'm like, I'm making the choice for us because I don't want them to tell me all of a sudden I can't do it now or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
So just, I feel much better about making the choice and I'm excited about
yeah.
the year.
Good.
Cool. It'll be awesome. So I want to talk about this past weekend for you
Yeah.
guys. I mean, shit, that was phenomenal. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
It was so great to see you guys playing together again. So I want to ask a couple questions about in wrapped in the round first.
Sure.
So what was it like playing like that, all facing each other?
Um, Anything different is going to be awesome to me. But the thing that I love the most was being not being a bass player standing directly in front of your drummer. I
Mm-hmm.
love and being able to see his foot on the kick drum. I can hear the snare and hat better. I can feel the drums better. So that was just being in a circle was really cool and unique. Cutting
There you go.
Did I cut out for a little?
You did for a second there, yeah.
Yeah, it was super unique to be, and I thought it was great to utilize that space the way we did, even for Ben and for the lights and the production. Still not playing to real people for over 6 months, but we getting used to that gig. But it was such a great warm up and build up for the drive-in theaters to actually be on a stage and be outside and playing in front of live people, a large amount of live people. Super productive while we were in the studio in the wrapped around too, because we were recording. And
Nice.
I think we have, man, close to 16 songs to choose from or build off of for a new record. So we're really good with our time. I mean, it was my first flight and my first Uber since March 6th or March 12th when I got sent home.
Wow.
I didn't want to drive again for like 35 hours, 40 hours to Chicago. So I thought it was safe for now. And I felt safe. The flight was empty. The only problem was we stayed at a hotel way out west of the airport in the middle of nowhere. And COVID hotels are different now. They don't come in your room. They won't in your room. No restaurants are open, nothing. So I didn't have a car. So I was just like, man, anybody, take me to the studio and let's just hang out here. Let's get some beers and record and play. And so I spent as much time away from the hotel and at the studio or the Ecto Center or the Wrapped Around, the place we performed, just getting stuff done and then rehearsing and getting warmed up for the live shows, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Felt good. Yeah.
This is the second time I've heard about new music. When Bayless was on the show recently, he was talking about you guys working on stuff. So that's super exciting.
Tons of stuff. So much stuff that and I keep telling them, like, guys, we should just start arranging them and putting them together. So when we keep playing new shows, we have material to debut and let marinate and form into, a lot of songs are better arranged and ready to go, and others are a little loose and have sections that aren't really flowing together. And I was like, let's just start performing those live and let that happen naturally and let that kind of marinate over time, because everybody's been writing at home and we all have interfaces now and learning how to use so plenty of material, and the only thing now would be just excuses to not debut them.
Just places not to play them yet. We need more shows on the calendar.
I think it ran really smoothly. A huge shout out to all the fans. I think everybody was super smart. Everybody was safe. They were kind to each other and followed the rules. I know there were a few stragglers here and there. Nothing that wasn't handled quickly and without opposition. Everybody was super cool.
That's super
cool. I mean, it was weird being on a huge stage and seeing like all these cars and everything at a drive-in, because I remember drive-ins when I was a kid. I used to go to drive-ins all the time with my folks. And then being on a boomy stage, it's hard to hear, but it was like, man, just this excitement of being able to perform overpowered all of those concerns or worries.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, like what the emotions that you were feeling like as you're about to walk out for the first time to play to an audience for the first time in 6 months. Like the excitement that you guys had to have been feeling was insane.
I actually played a show a couple weeks before for Doom Flamingo outside safely to people here in Charleston. And I did shed a tear like the third song in, just from being overwhelmed of seeing people's faces and remembering what it's like to play and interact visually with people and see their emotion. And I was like overtaken a little bit. And I think that was all built up since we had been in. So I might have been even more emotional. I only got out there too. But doing the show before, it was like, okay, well, we can do this again. We can feel normal and feel like, this is what we used to do. So hopefully if all the results, and I think they're positive, we can start doing more of these until this all passes and we're back to being normal.
So you would be down for doing another drive-in show?
Absolutely. I don't see why not. It seems like people enjoy. We play some music, as long as it's safe and as long as everyone's smart and we're doing what everybody feels we should be doing properly and safely, then I don't see why not.
Yeah. So what was your favorite moment like during the shows? Was there a moment, maybe you saw a fan out in the crowd or something? Was there like a moment that really kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I guess part of there's an uncomfortable when you're going to getting your ears ready where you got to lose all of that and get back in the moment. And I think that finally happened like second or third song in, and that's where I remembered to stop down or over at Bob and started to just listen and look out into the crowd and get lost in the people and see how much fun they were having. So that moment that happened. Just people raging on their truck beds, bouncing up and down. People, I mean, the excitement and pure joy that people were having of just being outside seeing live music, I think brought me an equal amount of joy. We were a little rusty, but we hadn't jammed on a real stage with our in-ears and in front of live people for 6 months. So, that's probably like tonight in the football game, there'll be a lot of flags thrown. It'll be pretty rusty. There's no spring training and stuff. So we'll become well oiled again, and hopefully we can do safe regions of the country. Unfortunately, I don't see us getting out west or far. I mean, most of the guys are in Chicago. I'm down in the South, so who knows what safety wise and travel wise too. You just got to think about the whole group and even the fans and everyone too. I know the Biscuits are doing stuff up in Cape Cod, I believe, up in the Northeast, in North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia and Florida. So we'll see.
Hopefully, that'd be awesome. And I'll tell you, I was watching from home and I couldn't tell if there was any rust. So no worries.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It was more of, I'm sure we'll go back and listen and be like, ooh, I might have blown that part. But hey, that's live music,
Hey, that's what we love about it. Was there anything that was a little more difficult, doing a show like this than like normal shows?
For me, the hardest part was getting my in-ears and the sound back to normal when you're on a big underneath it and all the subs. It was just like these low frequency sounds where it was actually hard to even hear my own bass. Low frequencies were really buzzing through my ears. Once I got my ears back to feeling pretty good and being able to hear what other people were doing melodically, then I felt much more comfortable. But I think everyone will tell you, it felt great to get back in the driver's seat again with each other and just like Bayla says, feel normal. Like this is what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we watched from home, but I was still emotional. I was crying during certain parts because I would see all my friends and just to have you guys play again, because it's such a release, for me and a lot of people that I know, and to not have that when the world is falling apart is hard. Yeah. So it was nice to kind of rage and get a little of all those emotions out.
Totally. And another thing I noticed too was I actually asked because I didn't see cars leaving. And I mean, I'll admit it, I'll be guilty. I'll be like, man, we got kids at home. Let's leave before the encore so we can beat the traffic and get out and let's get home. I've done that at plenty of shows. And I know you were able to do that, of course, if there was an emergency or if somebody needed to leave, but I never saw anybody pulling out and leaving. Like people really stuck around and Humphrey's a long show. And really, it seemed like everybody had a very positive and fun experience raging. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. Everybody has been so happy about it and following the rules and doing what they were supposed to, and that's good.
For the beer drinkers, there's a perk, because I know every time I go to a big show here, it's like go get some beers and you come back with two $16 beers each. By the time you're done with the night, you've spent $200 on 22-ounce Coors Lights or Budweisers if you can get them. And this is great. It's like bring a case of Budweiser for $15 and sit at your car, and you can. I mean, that appeal to me seems really awesome. That I would like to do it as a fan as well if it comes around. I've got some outdoor. They're not drive-ins here. It's like safe parking here in Charleston. And then you get your zone, and it's up to 4 people in your 10 by 10 zone, and it's like checkered. Nice. Doom Flamingo's doing a show. I'm going to announce another show with some friends and do that here in Charleston. So staying busy musically, and then we'll see what the fall and winter has to provide for Humphreys. And then hopefully we'll see what happens in 2021. Maybe we'll be having a completely different conversation. Who knows?
Hopefully we are one about the venues that you guys are going to be hitting up. I'm hoping.
Yeah, for real. For real.
So how different was backstage?
Very different. It was just just the band and an empty. It was chill, just a band and crew. It wasn't. I think everybody was just super excited to know that we were going to try and pull this off safely and make sure everybody had an enjoyable and positive, fun experience. So the vibes were good, just cracking some cold ones, having some laughs, and then getting back into it.
That's awesome. Was there anything that you couldn't do pre or post show that you normally enjoy doing that was maybe against the COVID rules?
Yeah, I mean, down and not going anywhere, so there wasn't expectations of after shenanigans. I'm an old man now, man. I just want to get my sleep. So I'm on the schedule on East Coast time. I usually get up at 6, but now with the homeschooling, it's great. I sleep until 7. So now it's just like play shows, do it, and then get the hell out of the hotel as fast as possible and just be with the boys and talk music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We did have our fantasy football draft as a band, so that was fun. Quite competitive group of footballers. Some you wouldn't think would have a good draft actually had a good draft, like Mr. Bayless. Not a huge football guy or a large football IQ, but he had a solid rest. Watch out for Bayless this year in the Humphreys Fantasy Football League.
It's nice that you guys were still able to do that and kind of have that fun that you were having before. And
yeah, you can only have so many band Zoom calls, which like, yo,
for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure. After a while, you just got to get together and be with your friends.
Fortunate, and again, not to go back to the music part of the record part, but we really use our time wisely when we're together, like in the studio, trying to get the drum takes, and I definitely try to nail the bass takes with the drums early, so I don't have to worry about doing anything in post or spending more time on stuff. I like to have the live both in the room, especially if there's any bleeding in the mics and everything too. So through what we did up at Boondock and what we did in the past and what we've done this last week, 2021 should have some, new music that I hope people dig.
Of course,
and of course, it's the whole spectrum too. There's slow, melodic, beautiful things, and there's heavier rock things, and then there's things that just sound like Humphreys.
Awesome. I'm very excited to hear what you guys put together, and that's going to be exactly what we need next year. New Humphreys music. For sure.
And then again, like I said, hopefully when we start touring more regularly, we'll have, like 6 to 10 songs that we can be playing live that we're not just going to save for a record. I'm done with that. I'm like, let's do it. Let's play them. Let's get them out. We can write more songs for the record after that. Let's just start playing some more new music.
Well, and like you said, to let it kind of wander out and go for a stroll and
marinate, see
what happens. To become. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I love that the fans can really be constructive in that part. I mean, sections where you're going to take chances and like, look, guys, they're feeling this. We should jam out here. This needs to be longer. Or if things don't feel right to us when we get back, like, that transition back into the chorus, it needs something. It needs something else. And then that can be part of the fan experience too for the nerds that go back and listen for 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm kidding. My friend Kevin Castles, I'm saying that about him. People aren't privy to this. He's listening to every Humphreys McGee show in order from day one. And I believe he might be in 2008 right now. So
yes, he did tell me about that.
Yeah. So I'll get the occasional text being like, yo, November 19th, check this out. And then, I'll go back and give it a listen. And be like, oh, I was there. Yeah, nice. But he's one of those people. Who knows, you know, change how songs have lost parts, why, and then he asked those questions. He's like, why did you cut out those sections? I'd be like, because they were garbage, you know.
But those are interesting questions, though, and to be that into the evolution of a song, I think it's
Yeah,
awesome.
which is why I was saying it would be great to have 6 to 10 new songs that aren't really finished and kind of let the crowd watch how they develop or how we end up changing them over time and seeing what's working in a live fashion, you know. And it doesn't take us long. I mean, we could an hour and really, you know, trim the fat or add a better flowing transition and make the songs better. But I just don't want to wait on them. I want to start performing them. It's like the song Nether or Never, you know. It's one of my favorite songs. One of the favorite songs. I've always wanted to do it out of Rocktopus, because the ending of Rocktopus is very, very similar to the beginning of Nether. I was like, what a great 1-2 punch, like we used to do Tinkles Milchés. You know, they're kind of written to be played back to back, and that was a fantastic transition. So on the boys on that one too, but you know, we got to have the 7 strings, we got to have all of our gear, we got to have all of our stuff, a little rehearsal. So those will come out there. I have a few people DMing me and being like, is this song ever going to get played? Is this it'll have
I
the
don't think
last time too, right?
I don't think it's you that we have to convince. Who is it that we need to be asking about this? Because
It's
you never
a
seem to
team
have an
effort.
issue.
I don't have an issue with it. It's a team effort. We got to get all 6 on board. We got to run it twice, and then it just smoke it, man. Light up and smoke it.
We're waiting patiently. That's what I said this about It Doesn't Matter the other day, about how that song is really only 2 years old, maybe. It's
Yeah,
it's it's not very old, and the growth that that song has seen
yeah. Just
in
people becoming more comfortable of what they want their section or what their section can stretch out to do. You know, it used to be A B, jam and E, A. A is short B. Now it's A B, completely different A. Take it out there, see what happens. Back to the B section, and then E, the part I say E because it starts with an E note. That section is completely open and different every time, which is really cool. And it's an interesting. Is it going to be a groove back? Is it going to be a build back? Is it not going to come back to the song? It's just got many options because, like you said, it's had time to marinate and people just become much more comfortable with it. I mean,
Mhm.
probably yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear what you guys are going to be playing in whatever capacity. Is there any idea of what you guys are going to be doing for the rest of the year as far as playing music together, or not
I
right
mean,
now?
if I said anything, it could change next week. And I think in June, I just said to myself, I'm going to stop predicting. I'm going to stop. I'll mark things in calendars with a pencil because we were changing them and things were happening so fast. I mean, even going up the boondock and that wasn't supposed to happen and it did happen. I just it's just too soon to know. Everything's like a day by day. And just as a person in general, for me, if I don't have to worry or think or predict, and I'm just worrying about today, I'm a much less stressed person.
Oh yeah.
So my hopes are, you know, that everybody stays safe, that we get to do more drive-ins, or there's a vaccine, or we get to play more shows. I just don't know when or how or if that's going to happen.
And a side note, you were just mentioning about, thinking about now. I'm reading this book and it's called The Power of Now. And it talks about being in the present moment and not worrying about the future and the past and all this other stuff. And it's a fantastic read. I think
Yeah,
you'd like that. And
I'm a fan of now.
yeah, it's all about that. And it's ever since I've started kind of implementing what I've been reading, it's definitely less stress when you're not
Yeah,
all over the place just right now.
yeah,
That's all you can really control too.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't.
that and then, you know, it's like the Zen learning of just be happy with who you are and what you choose to do and take accountability for it and be a good person. Because if you're wasting time going through comments on social media or internet or anything, that can be defeating. And a waste of energy and time. It's like, fuck that. Just be the best you can be, and who gives a shit what they think.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Well, I
Yeah.
guess that's
I did write a self-help book. Chapter 1 is drink more water than you think you should. Chapter 2 is get enough sleep. And then chapter 3, the final chapter, is don't be a dick. That's my book. I think those are my rules.
I would read that. That's fantastic.
The audio version.
Those are fantastic words to live by, though.
Yeah, not in print yet. Not in print yet.
Maybe Joel could write the preface of it.
Yeah, he'll do. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. I'll let you go and get to the
daddy
dad
duties.
teacher thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, I'm not teaching. I'm just, I help out when I'm around here when I can, and she's got it all under control, which is great. It's good to see the 2-year-old getting some discipline, and then also just seeing her mimic the 6 and 7-year-olds, because what a great way to learn, I think, for a 2-year-old to pick up on those skills, and
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it is with my 5-year-old. He's just picking up everything that we've been doing, and it's amazing how much of a sponge they are. And
oh my God. Yeah.
At least they're picking up the good things instead of when I swear and then my 5-year-old yells it in the backyard for the entire neighborhood to hear it.
Yeah, I can relate. I can relate to that. Nice.
You're like, thanks.
Yeah.
That's my kid. Thanks. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is a lot of fun to catch up. And
absolutely. And hopefully we'll have more, and I'll see you in person